The last thing I expected when buying a used WRX was being 50 feet away from somebody getting shot. That is how my experience went with this car. There was a whole lot of headaches. It was not a fun time, but here it is nonetheless. We got it done. I'm back alive. Everything's good. I took about a 3-hour road trip to go pick this thing up. This is my 2019 Subaru WRX. This is a base model car. It's an R title vehicle. It's used. It's got miles on it, and it's mine. So I took a little break from the channel, as you guys seen. I got the little Civic, cheap little Civic. I did a little bit of work to it. Nobody cared about it, but that's fine. I kind of took a break for me. I needed some time to reflect on all kinds of life choices. I needed time to worry about cleaning up some debt. I had a lot of debt, and I owed a lot of money on my VB. I owed a lot of money on all kinds of different things. Financed car parts because, us YouTube guys, we got to make content. We got to buy parts for the cars, and if you don't got the money for them, it's just so easy to finance. There's Afterpay, there's Klarna, there's Affirm, there's PayPal, there's all these options, and you don't realize how quick you could rack up some debt just buying some car parts. It's a stupid way to mod your car, but some of us are guilty of it, especially when you feel like you need to keep your channel going, and that's where I was. But I'm happy to say that I've paid off the majority of my debt. I got about 3/4 of it paid off now, and I kind of wanted to celebrate, and so I slowed down my debt payoff to save up some money and buy this. So I own this vehicle. This is the first WRX I've owned that doesn't have a lien on the title, and I can do whatever I want. So I'm super happy about it. But a lot of trouble comes with buying a used car, and so we'll talk about that. Some red flags you might want to look for, and I know right away you're gonna throw a big red flag. It's an R title. So let me just kind of go through the buying experience, what happened with me buying this car, so you guys know what's going on. The first thing I found, I was scrolling on Facebook Marketplace. These are all over the market right now, and they're kind of fairly priced. Depending on the mileage and what's done to them and yada, 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 you can expect to see these on the used market now, anywhere from 8 grand all the way up to like 25. So 25, you're paying for like one that's got 20, 30,000 miles on it. It's a 2021. It's still in really good shape at a dealership. And you'll see them all the way down to, I've seen a couple for 4,000 that needed a motor. Now, my criteria when buying a used WRX was one of the two. It would be either a really beat up shell that, needed some love, but it had a good, strong drivetrain, good, strong engine, and it was ready to rock and roll. Criteria number 2 would have been the complete opposite. It had a bad motor, bad transmission, but the outside and interior looked really nice. That was what I was going for originally. I wanted to find something that really was just like a really pristine shell that just somebody blew it up and didn't want to fix it and was selling it cheap. I found a couple of those. I tried to buy a couple of those, and every single one left me on red or wanted way too much for their WRX with no transmission, no engine. But anyways, here we are. This is what I ended up with. This is kind of the first one that I talked about. This one hopefully has a good engine and transmission. The one that I have behind me has 68,000 miles, but it was totaled out. So here are some pictures of what the vehicle looked like before. You can see it had a rear end accident. Supposedly there was suspension damage is what the Carfax says, but the guy that sold me the car was super upfront, super honest about it, and he was like, hey, here's the Carfax, here's the damage, here's everything that we have, everything we know about the car, showed me the pictures. Super grateful for that. That made the buying experience a lot more trustworthy. That was until bullets started flying. Yes, I drove 3 hours to go pick this thing up, okay, into Philadelphia. I don't like going into big cities. I was so frustrated with the traffic, but the drive down was pretty smooth. I got there, was checking out the car. Well, there was a test drive, and we went on the test drive. Everything felt great with the car. I was a little skeptical. I looked at it. It had a lot more damage than what he originally disclosed to me over the internet. And then we're taking the test drive, and the first traumatic experience happens. The ambulance almost ran me off the road on the test drive. So we're on the test drive, and I'm just paying attention, trying to listen to things to the car. I'm looking at the road ahead. This guy's talking my ear off, and I'm like, listen, buddy, I'm just trying to listen to the car. Just let me do the test drive. And I'm like, something ain't right. I'm getting closer and closer to the shoulder, like subconsciously, and I look over, and there's an ambulance beside me, halfway into my lane, and he's not stopping. I jammed on the brakes, which he told me he just put brand new brakes on the car. He said the brakes were completely shot, which I believe him because the tires are completely shot, and he didn't replace those. I literally squealed the tires because this ambulance was in my lane at this point. Like, I mean, when There was about that much room between my front bumper and his back bumper after I hit the brakes. And then I held the horn at him, you know, and he flips me off out the window. I'm like, buddy, you completely got into my lane. No lights, no sirens, no turn signal, no nothing. But anyways, the rest of the test drive went okay. We got back. I'm excited to go sign the paperwork and take this car home. And all of a sudden we're sitting there and just pop, pop, pop. And I'm like, that was a gun. Like, I know what a gunshot sounds like. I know what a backfire, a tire blowing. I was like, that was a gun. And the guy that's selling the car is standing there like it's just another Tuesday. And then I forget, oh, we're in Philadelphia. And he's just standing there chilling, minding his own business. I'm like, someone just got shot. And it was like right there. So we're at this dealership and we're at the very edge of the dealership parking lot where it meets a gas station. In this gas station, right in front of the building, somebody got shot. Apparently there was a U-Haul truck there, and there was like a couple guys waiting in the U-Haul truck for this guy to show up. And then this guy shows up and 2 rounds go off and the U-Haul truck peels off, and that was it. I'm like, what just happened? Like, it took like a half hour. I mean, there was people on the scene, so I was like, I didn't see nothing, you know. I walked back over. There was a bunch of people on the scene, and apparently somebody got shot. An ambulance showed up like 20 minutes later to pick the guy up, and then the cops showed up. Like, one singular cop showed up like 15 minutes after that and like got out of his car, I guess, walked around. And at this point I was leaving, so when I left, I seen the cop literally get out of his car. He walked like a little lap around the area, around the building, and got in his car and left. I was like, this is just another day for these guys. Like, this must happen all the time here. I didn't want no smoke. I was out of there. So I'm on my way home. The traffic was just insane. I'm trying to get home. I'm getting into gridlock traffic. This guy left me no gas in the car, and I'm like starting to regret my purchase. I'm like, man, this is a bad experience. Like, something's gonna go wrong. And I'm like, I gotta get gas. So I'm like, hey Google, you know, where can I go get gas at? What's the closest gas station? It pulls up one. I go there. It's closed. There's no pumps. There's no nothing. I'm like, this is terrible. So I drive down the road to another one. It's closed. There's no pumps. There's no nothing. I'm like, you're kidding me. I go to the next one. It's open. I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay. I go up to the pump. Now, when I was paying off all my debt, I shredded all of my credit cards. I don't own a credit card anymore. So all I have is my debit card. I went up to the pump. I put it in. It said, no debit allowed. So I'm like, that's really annoying. I hope that's not a consistent theme because I don't have a credit card on me. So I drive to another gas station. This one's open and it accepts my debit card. I'm like, cool. I get my gas, I run inside, and apparently no gas stations in Philadelphia have public bathrooms. So I have to pee so bad, and you guys aren't gonna believe this part. I was like in gridlock traffic. I didn't know where I was. I couldn't find the next nearest gas station, and I was like, I'm gonna piss in this bottle. I had a Powerade bottle in the car from the start of the road trip, and I opened it up, sat in the passenger seat, took a quick look around, and I leaned down and peed in this freaking bottle at a gas station in downtown Philadelphia. And I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like, I just need to get home. So I get back in the car, I pull out of the gas station, and I had my turn signal on, I'm ready to go, and there was somebody right up here from me, and they got there after I did, waiting to pull out onto the road. I pulled out, and she pulled out as soon as she seen me starting to pull out and tried to get out in front of me. She was like, oh, screw this guy, I'm gonna cut him off. Almost hits me. I had to lock up my brakes, then the light turns red, and instead of, you know, finishing her tactic and driving through the red light, she stops, and I'm like in the middle of the intersection blocking traffic now, and my head's about to explode because there's people honking and screaming at me, and I'm stuck like this in the middle of the road, and I'm like, this is terrible. So I like backed back up into the gas station. These people went through. I waited like 25 minutes to pull out of the gas station, finally got out. Then I'm in gridlock traffic again, just praying to get back on the highway, get back to somewhere I recognize, and finally I get back on the highway. Trail's going good. I'm listening to my Google, telling me where to go, using the GPS, and I knew my exit was coming up, but then my brother calls me, and as soon as he calls me, like my Google Maps went away, and like his phone thing popped up, and that's all I could see. And I was like, oh my God, where? And I'm like, hello? And he's like, oh, hey, what's going on, man? And then I just hear dun-dun-dun. And I looked down and it said like rerouting, and I was like, you're kidding me. So I missed my turn, got stuck in another 45-minute gridlock because of all these accidents, which now I see why, because people have, oh my God, it's just crazy. No one has no regard for anything down there. I finally, after a long, long day, got on the highway, got home, pulled the car into my garage, and I breathed the biggest sigh of relief I've breathed in a long time. It was not a fun experience, but That was the buying story. Here is the car. So what's wrong with the car? For the price that I got it, am I happy? Yes, I think I got a decent deal on it given the market right now. Like I said, in my area, there's hundreds of these for sale right now. And a lot of them at this price range had a little over 100,000, 105 to like 120. And so when I seen this one, it had 68,000 miles on it for the same price as a lot of them that have way more mileage. There are some red flags. There's some damage that needs addressed. We're gonna have a whole nother video on all the things wrong with this car because there's quite a bit. But yes, are some concerns, but no safety concern. The car was totaled. The original owner, this is a one owner vehicle. I'm the second owner. So the guy that originally owned the vehicle totaled it. It went to an auction. Some kind of dealer bought the car. They fixed it up and they sold it. So here we are. It wasn't major damage. It was actually, I don't know why it was totaled, to be honest with you. None of the airbags deployed. It was a rear end accident. It looked like they replaced the bumper. They did some repair on the trunk, and maybe I had to replace the taillight. I don't even think they had to do that. There were some concerns I had under the hood of the vehicle that I want to address, and there are some bald tires on the car. Not bald, but they're, I would guess, if you put a tire gauge on them, they're going to be close to the red zone. So first order of business is going to be tires, and these are the factory 17-inch base wheels and tires. So they're still on the stock summer Dunlops, and it is a, what, 4 or 5 year old car. So if that gives you any indication how the tire health is. But hopefully I can work with Cosmos wheels, get a set of Cosmos wheels. You guys know how much I love my Cosmos wheels. I've had them on every Subaru, and this one hopefully will be no exception. So we'll hopefully get a set of Cosmos for this. We'll get some new tires on it, and we'll start modding this thing. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I don't know where my plans are. I don't know how crazy I want to go with this thing, but I will dive into the car a little later on and see if we can find anything that's concerning that I'll address right away. But as of right now, I don't have anything that I'm worried about. But anyways, guys, here is my 2019 WRX. It is our blank canvas for the channel, and even though the canvas has some damage and needs a little bit of work before we start painting it, this is it. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. What's some mods you want to see on this thing? Is there any questions you have about the car? Just let me know in the comments. So do me one big favor before you exit the video. If you watch my content regularly and you try to, hit the bell notification because it has stopped notifying people when I upload. I've been told that by several people now. They're messaging me. They're saying, hey, I didn't even know you were still making videos because it hasn't been uploading anything. I didn't even know you got rid of your VB, etc. So here we are. This is my WRX. Welcome back to the channel. Let's get started.